think I play too much of these games, really. I've been invading in all the Dark Souls and Dark Souls-esque From Software games like Bloodborne and Demons. I still enjoy it. I still enjoy winning. But a lot of the times it's... what I enjoy the most is just observing other players as they play Dark Souls. You get to see a unique element to people going through the game as an invader. And you get to be part of their experience in a way that's sort of different than a lot of other games. Now this is a case study. This was a invasion where I had only been in the level for about a minute when this blue sentinel got summoned. The host and his gold phantom were kind of playing an asymmetrical path. I do believe the host was a little bit more experienced than his compatriots, especially more experienced than this blue, this hapless blue. Now I don't like to disparage players or make fun of people or even kind of use people as a teaching tool even, but this has to happen. I need to show this. This guy just runs. Now I understand not wanting to fight in a group of enemies. That makes sense. But he just runs around aggroing enemies, looking for the questing party that isn't over here. At no point does he render a single blow against me. Not during the entire invasion. What he does do is run around like Prefontaine, tearing it up, juking and jiving, melting asphalt, like a fresh bullet shot out of hellfire. He's doing everything except his job. Right here would have been a great place for us to fight, because the Grave Warden doesn't usually aggro all the way up the stairs. He doesn't know that. I'm kind of playing with my food a little bit, and the Grave Warden that he aggroed chases him all the way back to the graveyard, and I sort of allowed this to play out. I retreat back into the level because it was a good opportunity for footage, and later on this blue does find the questing party. Now he's seen me, he knows I'm in the level, he knows where I am, he knows what I look like. Yet at no point does he break off from the party or show any inkling that he's even aware that there's an invader, even though I was attacking him technically. They reconvene over here, the host runs in, and I stupidly and embarrassingly miss my first force, but the blue sees me do it. Clearly he sees it, right? And he gets blasted anyway, and he falls off. Now to his credit, he does survive the fall. Fair play to the Skull, by the way. The Skull stands its ground despite the fact most players, in my experience, will just beeline it around the giant and not actually try to fight on here. But he does, and I respect that. It didn't work out well for him, but I'll always respect a player that's willing to fight over players that just run around and don't really do anything. I allowed the host to kind of escape because at this point the invasion isn't about the host, it's about what this blue sentinel's going to do. And I'm not going to try to say his name there, so I promise you I won't say it. Now I assume that damage he took was from the thralls on the right side of the hall there, and I'm assuming I'm going to be making a choke point and cutting him off. But instead what happens is he runs across with all those aggroed thrall in tow. Giant throws some sludge at him, keeps going, makes it to the other side where there are more thrall waiting, as well as a cathedral knight. And at this point, he's out of steam. He can't run anymore, there's a locked door, he is completely and hopelessly unprepared for this summon. Now, invaders rag on blue sentinels like this. Hosts bemoan the whole process of getting a blue just because they'll see players like this more often than they should. I want you to preserve your dignity. If you're going to put on that blue sentinel parchment or your dark moon crest, have some respect for yourself and be prepared. That's what this video is about. Being Better Blues Preparation Edition. A few months back I detailed one of my level 60 characters who closely resembles this guy. This is basically a redo of that character, just at lower level. He's the little brother of my previous Cathedral Knight build. Instead of level 60, I am level 36. I had to use a warrior as a starting class, but in the end he ended up being rather knightly in appearance. There's my stat spread. Now the prisoner's chain is equipped at this low level. So my vigor, endurance, and vitality are kind of skewed by 5 points. That's a great ring. That's a free 15-point boost to whatever your build's going to be, and it's great level 100 or less. Don't ignore it. It's great. Your invaders that you're going to be fighting are going to be using it, I promise you. Higher level though, maybe not so necessary. But this is my low level boost set. Now again, strength, main offense right there. He's also got high poise, and the vitality is just where I want it, so I can equip the items I want to equip and still have big armor, and makes the most of my hyper armor frames when I swing. So my weapons obviously want to be heavy infused, so they are. Not all of them are actually, but for the most part, he's pretty well equipped there. I have a dagger on deck as well as a parrying shield. You might as well have a parrying shield option if you're going to have a dagger. There's no reason not to. My main shield though is the Stone Parma. Now the Stone Parma is a Dark Souls 2 shield that I really liked, and I kind of like it in this game a little bit more, just because I feel like it's a great early game stability based shield, although it's a little bit heavy. I don't see most people use it though. Most people kind of leave it there in the swamp, so I sort of like it because I don't see it too often. It's really the main reason. I'm wearing most of the Cathedral Knight armor with the exception of the Knight chest from the starting gear for the Knight. Prisoner's Chain, again, I already informed you, but there's also 2 very important +3 rings from the Ring City DLC that I need as this guy. My 4th ring slot is my utility slot. Now, for the most part, I have the Leo ring equipped there just because I'm usually using thrusting weapons like the War Pick or some of my other weapons, but I can change that on the fly if I have to. Look at my toolbar though. This thing is completely decked out. When Batman goes on the prowl, he doesn't leave his utility belt at home, right? So why would you? I have every square filled. I've got bombs for the strength-based damage boost, daggers for ladder runners, I got my charms, my resins. I do go to Farron a lot at this level. I do get summoned a lot from the swamp, so I usually have poison on deck. Bolts, bows, or bolts and arrows, I mean, I'm sorry. This is my guy. This is what I have equipped. These are my weapons. All my weapons are going to be heavy infused. Or most of them are, anyway. I do have a pickaxe. The pickaxe will probably, on this list of weapons, be my most late game weapon, I think, that I have on here. Yeah, it's a Profane Capital weapon. But I can one-hand the Cathedral Knight Greatsword. That's pretty cool. And I can roll with it, just the same. I love this sword. It's got a really nasty thrusting attack. It's probably my favorite of the Greatswords, if I'm being really honest. Yeah, these tools are not an accident. I picked them specifically to make the most of what this guy's strengths are. His strengths are defense, poise, hyper armor. Now I don't have the reach with all the weapons. The Millwood Axe I like just because it has an unusual weapon art. You know, sometimes in an unusual weapon art, and the DLC weapons all have unusual weapon arts, sometimes that's enough to kind of keep you going when something else would fail you, or whatever. Have a bow. Always have a bow. I don't know why people don't think about this. I use a composite bow. Doesn't matter what you use, just find a way to make your build open for a bow. Make it work, okay? If you can't do it, get a crossbow. I have a crossbow anyway. I also have a Millwood bow and arrow. Now I could use this bad boy at level 36. This does very real damage even at low level. And the fact that you only need, what is it, 12 dex and a minimum of 22 strength because it technically two-hands it, that's pretty great. I mean, the other 2 great bows are good, but even at high level, this thing will just kind of outperform them. Although the Only Slayer gets some nice range on it, so if you're a dex build, it's pretty good. All in all, it's a well-rounded build, but the real strength is that it's a consistent build to the areas that I'm playing in. That's kind of a big deal, and I'm going to go over that in just a moment, but here are my rings. Now, as I said previously, Havel 3, Ring of Favor +3, they're always on. Prisoner's Chain always on. The other rings will occupy my utility slot depending on the situation. Sometimes I'll need the extra poise boost if I'm not using a thrusting weapon and I want to offhand the Leo ring. The health boost from the Evil Eye ring +3, sometimes in a long endeavor where I'm in a host game for a while and the invaders being a little bit stealthy, that helps. Cat ring. Not a whole lot of selective rings here. Most people will have a Hornet ring option. I try to stay away from that a little bit with this guy. I'm trying to train myself not to use too many crutch rings, even though I'm obviously using crutch rings. If you don't have access to the DLCs, or you don't have a character to trade them down like I did, or you don't have a friend that can trade them to you, the standard +0 variants of these rings are fine. The percentage that I get from these is significant, so if you are trying to match my stats here, compensate please if you don't have these rings. But yeah, I mean, he's a Blue Sentinel. I have the Dark Moon crest. I want you to see in the screen that it's there. I've been to Anorlando. I can be a Dark Moon. But again, I'm a consistent Blue Sentinel. I'm consistent to the areas of the game that I play in, and that's kind of the real merit to this type of character. I don't want to give too much information out to the other players. It's good to tell the host some things when you're in game, but in the heat of the moment you won't be able to communicate everything, and I promise you invaders will size up a situation quicker than anyone else in a session. Okay? Never give information out for free. I'm a Blue Sentinel because I don't want the invaders that are seeing me in Farron or the Cathedral of the Deep or Karthus to know that maybe I've been to Anorlando. I want them to think I'm some plucky looking knight guy who's got gear normal for the area I'm at or below, and approach me with that in mind. Maybe you want to use the Leto's Great Hammer or the Quakestone Hammer or some other late game whammer or some other tool like that. Or you could use a Great Hammer, like the Great Club that I have here, and you won't tell the invader too much about your game progress. Even the tools that you have in the toolbar, like certain throwables and consumables, might give away something about what ashes you've collected. Some gestures that you may just use to be funny might say, hey, I've been to this part of the game, despite the way I look and despite where we are, and that invader that may have given you a win if they disrespected you on sight might be a little bit more timid. So these are all important factors. Preparation is one thing, but you have to know that showing a hand is a big part of the endeavor as well. Running around and not participating in the session tells one thing, your equipment tells another, and it all kind of culminates to how you're going to represent yourself and how you want to be prepared. So keep that in mind, and good luck out there, and be ready.